Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner Podcast, a part of the College Huddle Network, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, Shelton Moss, and our extended family, 57 in the program, number one in your hearts, Dwight Vick, and fresh from the 757, the playmaker, Christopher Lester. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts, down at Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. And now we are also brought to you by Moments on the Maury. Are you looking for a weekend getaway, but you still need to make it to Blacksburg for the game? Moments on the Maury is exactly what you need. It is owned by a proud Hokie located just outside Lexington, so just a little over an hour's drive from Blacksburg. If you like fishing, if you like kayaking, canoeing, or just sitting by the river with a cold one, smoking a cigar, or sitting in the river with a cold one, smoking a cigar, this is your place right out the back door of this beautiful place. Check out the link in the comments section or visit their Instagram, Moments on the Maury. Listen, I'm going to say something real quick. I got to go to this place back in the summer. These are friends of ours, friends of me and my wife's for a long, long time. They are Hokies. We had a blast. Kids had a blast. So if you're looking for something to go do, like you want to make the game, but you're looking for something to go do, go check this place out. It's awesome. And that's all I got to say about it. But that's the same time.
Curtis, I like you add a little bit of color there to rope in Chris to get a spot out there. He's like cigar on the canoe.
I'm going to tell you, man.
Hey, you know.
Well, ain't nothing like smoking.
I gotta go check it out. Yeah, I gotta go check that out, man. I think,
no doubt,
for them to be sponsoring the show now, they need me down there so I can give a full review of exactly how it feels to be in nature.
Hey, Tally, you got to do one of them you got to do one of them bed reviews too for every bedroom. You got to pop in the bed. I do
the bathroom. I need a
mattress rating, a pillow rating, rate the bathroom.
And I rate the bathroom because it's all about like how you feel when you sit on the throne. Because as a listen, I know we're gonna get into the show, Shelton. I know you ain't got no kids yet, Everybody else here has kids, so I'm gonna prep you to something. Men, dads use the bathroom to get away from their family, so you gotta have a comfortable toilet. I mean, legs going numb,
proper light, proper lighting, plenty of air, and
you gotta have a good
and the Wi-Fi
bathroom.
got to be right.
Yep. You gotta have a good bathroom.
Gotta be right.
You gotta get that. So throw a little bit of a stool in there, keep the legs higher. Man. That way they don't go to sleep. The moment you're in there too long, somebody's gonna be either calling that phone, knocking on the door, because there's something for you to do around that house. So enjoy your bathroom breaks right now, Sheldon. Because when you have kids or you get married or anything, or even a spouse, like it's over. You got no free time. You know. He's just telling you, man. So check the bathrooms out, everybody. If you haven't got one of those, what have you been doing in there? Text.
Oh yeah,
you ain't really living.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yo, Sean, where you stay at, man? Where you stay at?
You're on mute, Sheldon.
Now we can't hear Sheldon.
Check 2.
There we go. Sheldon, come on, Sheldon.
Oh no.
No,
Curtis, you done cursed him. Sheldon.
Ain't cursed shit.
Damn, man.
Steven in the chat said, imagine having 3 daughters. I don't want to.
Okay, just go in and come back out. It's a reset.
Yeah, we're good.
We'll get it to you. While Sheldon's figuring out his mic, Dwight, Chris, how have y'all been?
Hey yo,
go ahead.
I've been out here saving the world, and then laughing a little bit. Chris is one of my biggest fans on my personal Instagram because I act a fool on my personal account. I mean, I post. Man, you want to laugh, because that's my, I'm a therapist by day, so I do my podcast, and as y'all know, but I'm a family man. But my recipe for coping and managing all the stresses in this world, especially someone that's a licensed mental health therapist, is humor. I just post foolishness, ignorant, and I love it. It's my private account. So, if you don't, like Jay-Z said, if you don't like it, it costs you nothing. Pay me no mind. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
But I'm looking forward to talking tech because I think the last time I really talked tech was during the spring game when I don't know who jumped on and did a little live, and it was crazy because that was the first spring game. Because you gotta understand something, I probably have been to. I mean, I had a streak of 16 straight years. I did not miss a spring game, and even that year it was canceled when they had Bucky Hodges in them. I was still up there. It got canceled right before the game. So, but I've been blessed, man. Got an oldest daughter. She in college. My middle son, Zay, we moved him on Sunday. He starts. He was down at Wingate for the summer full scholarship. He ended up having 10 offers, 10 D2 offers. But I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm not on the LeVar Ball stuff. He's special. He's almost 6'8" now. He's long, strong. He did that Fork Union prep year. He got that Fork Union weight on him. And then my younger daughter just made the JV volleyball team at Gainesville High School. So I got 2 out of my 3 in college. God is good. And then my third one is at a very competitive volleyball program at Gainesville. She made a JV team as a sophomore.
Nice.
So, and then my nephew, shout out to my nephew. He's got 16 D1 offers. He's coming to the Tech Vanderbilt. Remember the name? He's a junior this year at Bethel High School. He plays everywhere, and his name is Derek Fisher. He's my sister's son. And I know him. Yeah, he's UVA on him. Tennessee FaceTimed him the other day. I don't know if that's legal, but whatever. Anyway,
call compliance.
He's a kid. Y'all gonna be asking me who he's going with, and he's starting to. I think it's really cool because if you know the Vick family, including my wife, my cousin Octavian went there, my other cousin Calethea, Mike, Marcus, myself, my wife, and my other cousin Octavia, who, if I didn't say her name, she's an attorney down in Atlanta. So you're talking about a lot of people from our family that went to Virginia Tech, man. So we'll see what happens with Derek, man.
Okay,
Yeah,
Derek
man.
Fisher.
He's in my book of guys to go see. You know.
Yeah.
He's in my book.
I'm telling y'all.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, when I do my I Told You shows, I told y'all going way back, if you follow me, I told people about Greg Stroman. I told people about Greg Deutsch. I told people about Daz Newsome. Everybody said, Greg Stroman will never play at Tech. He's too small. He's too thin. I'm like, y'all don't understand. I told people about Eddie Royal when he was at Westfield cooking. I said, we got a dog. And like, it's just one of those things, man. Sometimes people have to see for themselves. So I don't do manufactured hype. If I speak on something, look, I told y'all know this. I said it in the comments on Boundary Corner. Caleb Woodson. I told people. They were like, well, he's young. He's not ready. I'm like, shh.
Yeah. You were early on that.
This is the thing, too. I'm going to throw this out right quick, Dwight, just while you hitting on that. When you talk about kids that go to a high-level school, a high-level D1 school, that's Virginia Tech. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is. UVA, that's a high-level D1 school. When you have somebody that comes out of high school and goes to these schools and they start, that's a big accomplishment. So when you have somebody that, maybe talks about a kid and says, this kid's special, and then they go to college and they start, even if the stats aren't there, they don't make it to the next level, that's like a 1% thing. So whenever I hear people talking about kids, I just look at, like, just say you talked about Caleb Woodson, right? Okay, so when Caleb Woodson come in, I'm like, is he going to be a starter? Soon as I seen him suit up, I'm like, he should be a starter. So
yeah, you're right.
Whenever I hear somebody say something like that, and I'm just throwing that to the chat because sometimes people are like, oh, well, this person didn't do nothing or they didn't make an all ACC. That is not what we're talking about. Like going into college and playing and getting to the next level, totally different thing. We're just talking about what you see from high school moving into college. So just want to throw that out there.
No, and then, hey, look, real quick before I know Kurt and Brian y'all got to do y'all thing, and I'm looking forward to it, and Shelton. But just to add to that, I think in the microwave stage of college football NIL, I think one thing that needs to talk, and I'm big on this. I don't care if you're at Alabama or Miami. It's okay for a player and a family and even fans to be patient. I think right now with the transfer portal NIL, we just think development is going out the window. And I just think you got to understand development is still essential on the collegiate, high school, and pro, even youth football level. Development, everybody wants to rock with Cam Chancellor now. Shout out to the GOAT. But at the same time, Cam Chancellor developed at Virginia Tech. They played them every week. It's a lot of guys that develop. My biggest I Told You So of all time, Mike Vick. He came to Tech, and he'll tell you he was so glad the red shirt. That red shirt did wonders. His brother, who was an icon, a National Gatorade Player of the Year in football and basketball, Ron McCurry, down the street at North Carolina. Davenport got hurt. Ron didn't get a chance to redshirt and develop. And and again, you can say, "Oh, he went to Carolina." Look, it ain't about hating on Carolina. That development is still one of the things people need to understand. A lot of players need that, man. Like, some of your favorite household names had to develop. So you come in and start at a UVA, a Maryland, a Miami, or Colorado, or Oklahoma, or even a mid-major, Marshall. It don't matter. At this level, just to be in the two deep is insane. Especially with the kids now. The kids now are insanely athletic.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds, bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss, lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
Right. Without question. No lie spoken. Not one single lie spoken.
So Yeah, go ahead, Curtis.
Well, I was gonna say before we get into the season, we got some other shit we got to hit on that's happened since the last time we talked.
Sheldon, you got to update Dwight. Where you rocking right now?
Where you rocking, real quick, Sheldon? Since you got cut off, and he's still.
Oh no, we still ain't got you.
Oh man, that's my guy too. I need to hear from Sheldon.
I need Sheldon, man.
He gonna get it right.
He will.
Curtis threw it over on him.
I'm not sure what was going on, but we had him when he came on. So
we did.
We'll get it right. We'll get it right.
While he's figuring it out, though, Brian, let's hit a couple of these little news and notes before we get into the season.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have kind of been going on. The thing I wanted to talk about first is, looking at that tampering situation, NC Central. Ultimately, a running back that ended up going to UVA, but apparently we had somebody down at the game. But possibly there were some conversations there. What's y'all's take on this? Is this a nothing burger, or is this something to actually talk about?
Hold on, can I say something before I let our esteemed guests and our esteemed extended? You didn't get him. It's the worst piece of tampering I've ever seen. If you didn't get the kid, it's the worst piece of tampering I've ever seen.
Man, to me, honestly, it's a big nothing burger because at the end of the day, the kid was going to make a decision. He was leaving to go somewhere. Right. So if it was somebody from the staff or the way the story came out, it was somebody who was a friend of somebody down there. But the kid was leaving either way. So to try to throw us underneath the bus as if, we down there hunting for guys in North Carolina Central. Listen, we caught lightning in a bottle with Bashal from A&T. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're going to go find another, HBCU back that's going to be able to come here and play with the guys we have now. Going to get Bashal was to be able to bridge the gap. We've got guys that can play. So, I mean, him yelling us out, maybe, keep people off your sideline. But, I mean, it's North Carolina Central, bro. It's North Carolina Central. Stop it, man.
So the thing that gets me is I can understand if he had a problem, whatever, deal with it. But he makes all this song and dance and do all this extra stuff. I'm like Chris said, he leaving. The kid was leaving anyway, right? So he leaves and goes to another school. So you said, so this school pissed me off. So I'm going to be a fan of this school and they're going to beat the crap out of this school. He still ain't at your school. Like, I can understand if he said, well, I'm going to stay here because they tried to, tamper. I'm going to stay and finish here. Like, come on, man. To me, what it sounds like, and I'm just keeping it real, somebody didn't grease somebody's pockets. Somebody wanted something out of the deal. They didn't get it and had a problem with it. That's just awesome.
Hey, it's a nothing burger, bro. Like, it didn't make any other. Nobody was talking about it. First of all,
no.
They didn't ever say who the coach was, right?
No, they never said.
All right, so dude could have been in the area, wanted to check out some ball, or he might have had a little shorty, a side piece he was going to see. This grown man business. Like, I'm telling you, like, people. When I used to work at group homes, I used to tell my clients because they were high school age. So I used to be like, look, I'm Mr. Vick up in here, but when I was in my 20s, when I was still playing adult flag and trying to get back in the league, I was like, yo, when you see me outside, I'm Vick. And they used to be like, yo, what that mean? I said, you don't want to find out. And they were like, yo, Mr. Vick, crazy. It's not crazy. It's more so like, I got things I'm into. Nothing illegal, nothing weird, nothing with eyes wide shut with masks and whips. I'm just saying, like, I'm doing me. Like, don't think. Like, I don't know. I didn't care because I'm like, bro, you breaking the code, man. Because listen, one thing I learned having a son recruited and a nephew who's highly recruited and other people I've helped, even going back to the days of Deshaun Hand and Jalen Holmes, understand this right here, bro.
Let's go, my guy.
These coaches are a brotherhood. So that's, we UVA, I hate Miami, whatever. But when they out hanging out at these coaching clinics, they drinking together, they talking about crazy parents.
You're right.
And to me, that was a violation. You could have texted dude and been like, hey, yo, what you doing, man? I don't want to have to come at you. Yep. Anyway, nothing burger. Yeah. That's a nothing burger.
Sheldon, real quick.
It's a nothing burger. Am I back yet?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. It's a nothing burger, although I will note that I am not philosophically opposed to cheating. So I would say even if we were cheating, I don't care, and we should cheat better.
I got you.
I'm
not
opposed to cheating.
Sheldon, tell Dwight real quick where you currently are residing.
Yeah, so I'm down in the 757. I'm in Williamsburg. I don't know if it's the 757 proper.
It is.
Yeah.
So you
right on the edge.
You live in good. See, Williamsburg is where we went for the field trips when I was in middle school and high school, and it was always awkward because you go to Colonial Williamsburg and they were like, I went to an urban school, Hampton High School, and they used to be like, over here is where the slaves slept. I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. But Williamsburg, though, you live in good. I do love and miss Busch Gardens and Water Country, but I'm too old for that now.
I was just at Busch Gardens yesterday, man. I took my son for the afternoon. Took a little
old
afternoon
for
off.
Water Country, bro. You never too old for that.
You're right. I just used to get in that wave pool back in the day, but I'm Team Wesley Snipes. I would get out, I ain't have no lotion, so I was Ashy Larry after that.
Hey, next time you go,
we got an eyes wide shot at an Ashy Larry reference in the first 5 minutes.
The gate, right? Out the gate.
Hey, I'm gonna have fun, man. Y'all my guys. We're gonna have fun for the viewers.
Damn right
I'm gonna give y'all plenty of reels. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give y'all plenty of reels.
Tally.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of the 7-5, we got some good news the other week.
Yeah. So, ODU series is canceled. Let's see here. We got games that's gonna be played. 25, 26, and 30 still in Blacksburg. All the Norfolk games are canceled.
Sorry, Chris.
Now this is my take. This is my take first, just because I'm talking about it. But this is my take. When you scheduled that, to me it was dumb. But anyway, you scheduled it. We was at a certain position. Some people said, okay, you need to get down there and recruit. No, just recruit better. Like, big schools in the state, I don't care what y'all think. Alabama, Auburn. Oh, we ain't Alabama, Auburn. In Virginia, you're close. Alabama and Auburn ain't going to UAB, which is a good school. Alabama and Auburn ain't going to South Alabama. They're not going to those schools and play. First of all, they ain't going to play them because they ain't got nothing to gain from it. But if they do play them, they're going to make them come to them. So like where I live in Huntsville, Alabama A&M, historically black school, played Auburn. They didn't come to Huntsville to play them. They made them come to Auburn to play them.
Made them come. That's right.
So things like that is just like, even if you're not in a certain position, you need to try to run the program like you're going to get to that position. So I didn't really like the series from the beginning. But then when you go down there and get your ass whooped and get your stuff stole, you can't back out then because you look like you're running. So you got to stay and play a couple of games. But now it's the time, okay, if we're going to play y'all got to come see us. You know what I'm saying? Come on down here, take your ass whooping, going back to the house. I'm gonna throw it to Dwight right here because I know he was knee deep in that whole series because you got a daughter that was going there too, right?
She's a rising senior, and we took that L. So let me speak on this. I was probably the front runner on Twitter, or I'm gonna call it Twitter. I don't call it X. I was the front runner on there, and I was adamant, even if we had won that year, that we should not be going down there. And this is when I feel like sometimes the people with shirts and ties, it's not because I played, it's only because I know the 757. I was there during the golden era, and I understand the dynamics of recruiting. Like, for example, people say, oh, we got a beach kid. A beach kid they have tons of talent in the beach kid on the beach side, the south side. But, Norfolk, recruiting a Norfolk kid is completely different from recruiting a beach kid. Same thing with a Newport News or a Portsmouth kid, Norcom versus a kid that might be at Salem. So playing ODU and beating ODU is not going to sway a kid. The thing you got to do when you recruit is connect with the streets in the 757 and the 804. And it's not to say it's about being urban or hood. It's more so the demographic and the relationships down there are with the guys like my homie Red and all the people that ran the thoroughbreds and things like that. the trainers, the guys that are your youth leagues, those guys in the barbershop. That's one thing Stein Spring was a master at. He was a household name. Playing ODU, I said on Twitter, we benefited nothing. I was adamant about cutting the ECU series, even though ECU recruited me. Love ECU a lot. It was a great game there when I played, but when we signed, I felt like a death sentence to play them for 20-something years. I remember this back when I used to write for Rivals, and before I went to 247, and I wrote for them, and I had a fan hit me. And it was a booster. I know when a booster hits me in my mentions, they talk completely different than a fan. He was like, Dwight, you need to understand. They cut us a serious check during the tragedy. I said, good for them. Thank you. We don't owe them anything more than just what we give them with the football piece. And again, when ECU was very good before Ruffin got let go, it was a game that made sense because they had the respect. I just felt like we overreacted. And when we cut ECU, we really, to this day, man, and I've talked about this on y'all platform before. One thing Tech has to understand, you never want to be, and we have a history of this, somebody's signature win. We were ODU, and Liberty. And see, nothing, I don't want to bring up just Fuente because it's not just him. It was Witt and even Weaver to some degree, God rest his soul, that overreacted to these series. And you got to know your brand. You got to know your worth. We're trying to get back there, but ODU, I remember walking out, and this is why I say I can't go back there because I was a fan behind me. He was talking a little reckless, and they beat us the year we went 3-8, and he was just calling us chokies and all that. And I turned around. Of course, his body language shifted, but I wasn't about to put my hands on him. I just told him I said, you think we're really the Virginia Tech you grew up on? This ain't really a signature win for y'all. Mind you, this was the second time they beat us. The first time really threw us off our path. Our starter got hurt, broke his leg, and on top of it, we were 13th in the country off a great win against FSU. And that whole week I was completely anxious because I knew the team was up for it, but that was a solid ODU team, and playing in that stadium and the way our fans travel, it just didn't make sense. I was elated that we did that because you got to respect your own brand. And, I believe in helping the in-state schools, but UVA and Tech have overreacted both. I know this is a Tech show, but UVA and Tech both overreacted. And here's my pushback. One last point. And I remember I got a little pushback on this on Twitter, but I don't run from confrontation. I'm like, okay, so it's all about helping the smaller in-state schools. Okay, we'll bet that. Get HU and Norfolk State and Union on Virginia State on your schedule then. Get them HBC. They need the money.
They need the money.
It get real quiet when I tweeted that. It got real quiet when I tweeted, let's get Norfolk State. Now, be careful now because it's there. But my point being is, if you really want to help in-state schools, help some HBCUs out. Liberty, okay, I get it. I got 2 masters from them.
They don't need any money.
They right behind them too.
They don't need no damn money. Right. They don't need no damn money.
But like you said, bring Norfolk State up the street. Put a little bread in their pocket. Give them a little exposure, give them a little ass, and send them back down the road.
We're getting to a point where that stuff's not going to happen anymore because it's somebody put it in the chat. Get WVU, get Tennessee. You got to have eyes on you. And I like what you said, Dwight, and I'll copy it, and we're going to move on to the next subject. That we were their Super Bowl. They got up so hard for those games. Their fans got up. So, it was lose-lose. You beat them by 40, you're supposed to. You lose to them, Jesus Christ. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, the other thing I got, Dwight, you were talking about, needing to know the barbershop, the thoroughbreds. If you're not connecting with those people and if you're not in the high schools, it don't matter whether you're playing one game down in Norfolk every other year.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not moving the needle. That's not doing anything from a recruiting standpoint. So
AOB. Yeah. Go ahead, read your point because you go ahead because there's something about you said about Norfolk.
Yeah, I was just saying at some point, if you're not doing all the things you need to do to close the deal on these guys, just playing a game down there is not changing the trajectory of whether a player is going to come to Blacksburg or not.
It's not. And just to your point, I went to the Maury Highland Springs State Championship game. Maury was missing their stud running back and somebody else. Highland Springs That was their 5th state championship under Lauren Johnson, right? And I remember I went, and Maury, this is Maury. They are arguably the best program in the state right now. They're one of the tops, right? And I remember going there, and the 804 Richmond was well represented to the point, and it didn't matter for me, but Highland Springs had more players there. It was a cold day. In Norfolk, Maury's down the street, but a lot of those guys were watching on their phone around the way. You have to understand, that's what I mean about demographics. Chris and I are 757 guys. When I talk about the 7 cities down there, including the surrounding areas, Williamsburg and those areas, you even though you are 30 minutes apart, 30 miles apart with the tunnel and all of that in close proximity, for a lot of people going across the water is a chore with the tunnel traffic. So I'm from this. So that's why I was like, y'all, they got to start consulting with people that actually, and I'm not taking shots at Whit and his staff, because I talked to Whit. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, all these people that get paid these salaries, I'm like, talk to somebody that knows, consult. Listen, I'm a big movie and TV show guy, right? If you talking about if you on The Wire, or if you're trying to watch Power or something, the first thing you do when you go to a new area is find the plugs and the connect.
That's right.
And you find out where you can't go, who really running stuff. Yep. We just run down there and do a thing with ODU. And I'm just like, bruh, I'm glad we did win that last one down there, but still them other ones aren't, because again, Liberty, JMU, and ODU celebrate those wins. And here's the thing about JMU. One time they beat Virginia Tech in the history of their program, they still celebrate that.
Still talk about it.
We won the ACC that year and went to the Orange Bowl. Yep. Yeah. So I'm glad.
We got you. We beat you.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to throw a plug in there right quick, because we've been talking about a couple of things. For my people that's new, y'all shouldn't be new. If you ain't been watching, you need to watch. Every week we're going to be coming out with some stuff that's going to be great, because that's what we do. We do have an interview. We got an interview that's we got it in the toaster right now. We're going to let y'all know when it's hot and ready, and we'll pop it out. Talking about a lot of these things that these guys have been bringing up. We got a kid. Y'all may know him, you may not, but anyway, Keelan Adams, we do have a interview with him that we will be releasing soon. And I'm just bringing up that he talks about, even the tunnel, going home, driving from Tech to home, how the tunnel affects his driving home and things like that. So things like that are when Dwight talks about talking to the people who actually do it. When you're recruiting a kid, and I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm gonna let Keelan do his talking when it drops. But when you recruit a kid and you have somebody who has been in those shoes or are still in those shoes and say, "Oh yeah, I make that drive all the time," or I go this route all the time, and this is easy or this is hard. That's recruiting. You know what I'm saying? One fucking game going down there and getting robbed and getting stuck in the elevator ain't gonna help you win or lose a kid. Like,
we got
it.
Come on, man.
Yeah. He's saying dealing with that tunnel and everything else. Like I said, if you don't have people that are there talking to people, we had one kid that was he ended up going to a school up north, and I think I talked to that kid like 7 or 8 times, right? And he told me every time, he's like, "Listen, if y'all were in the Big Ten, I would have went." But he came and went and met his trainer over in Norfolk. But he was a kid that was, with the Warwick, and y'all can decipher through all that. So it's to the point, man, kids got to make a conscious decision. It is a definite, hey, when am I leaving to go through the tunnel? Because I know I got to get over here. If I'm going to train tonight at 7 o'clock, I can't leave from over there at 6 o'clock. Because from 3:30 to about 5:30, you sitting in traffic. Right?
No doubt.
And those and that's life, and you have to deal with that. If I'm going to Tech, I'm like, all right, when am I leaving? If I want to get there by 4, I gotta leave out of here by 9. My wife fusses with me on a regular basis. I was like, "Hey, babe, let's get across the tunnel before we get something to eat." Now I want to eat on this side, and then we always get damn caught. She listened tonight, so I want her to know it's your fault when we late going up to Tech because you want to eat on this side. Get across the water.
We don't support what he's saying. We not with that.
Look, and check this out. Here's another little nugget. Last year, ODU I believe they signed 28 players out of the high school in the portal. None were from the 757. Not one.
Not a
number
two. Not one.
Number two, being a certified 757 ambassador that I am, right? Check this out. The way our area operates, you got to have credibility. Even though ODU's had some great moments, my daughter goes there. I know some guys on the football team. I respect them. Chris Malone, former Tech guy, coached there. Stein Spring coached there. I love the basketball program. I love the school. But here's the thing. Guys in the 757, when they made a decision to recruit based off that matchup, nobody around the way is going to be like, oh, yo, I seen y'all beat ODU. That's not the same. You got to understand how, again, the demographic and the way the culture in our area in the 757 works. Everything's about big matchups. Like, it's not about like, okay, it's cool, because it's not like you go down there and you do Enter the Sandman. It's not like you go down there. Right. And then on top of it, to make things work is at the time when you went down there, that one year you were 13th in the country, but even in that year, you were fresh off of FSU with, but you didn't have any household names. You had talent. You had, Trayvon Hill, but you didn't have, we are big on household names. Everyone is, not just Tech fans. So for example, Chiron Drones go down there. Oh, I'm going to see Drones. I'm going to see KD because KD is must-see TV. Tootin. Those guys are, again, it's ain't just like nobody that was on those previous teams. You going down there with a transfer quarterback that's the size of a toddler on Muppet Babies, that's not going to work.
Call that man a Muppet Baby, man.
Hold on, man. Hold on, Dwight. Curtis, what you got for me, man? Because Dwight finna get started.
Yeah. Dwight done loaded the clip tonight. Let's go.
What you got,
I'm just saying. Go ahead, Kurt. I'm just y'all know me. Look, at the end of the day, I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm just speaking on what I know. If we were talking electrical engineering, I'd be on mute. I'll mute myself. I can't talk.
Right.
Can't hear you, Curtis.
Mute, Curtis. Sheldon, take it for him.
Sheldon, what you got?
Oh, he's gone. Well, all right. Well, I think that was good discourse. We're talking about just some news and notes from around the Hokie sphere and the ACC as well. Injury reports. ACC recently announced that they were going to require teams to release injury reports in football, basketball, both basketballs, and baseball as well. That had been talked a little bit for a while now, at least for all conference games. So obviously we know why this is happening, mostly because of sports betting, because of how much money people have in the line here. And I saw, it was funny. I saw someone on Twitter joke that Brent Pry would probably just list every single person on the roster as questionable. Some ambiguous injury timelines as of late, and some questionable personnel decisions with regards to some injured players last year. So I think it's fine. I'm not a sports betting person, but I can understand from that perspective why it can be frustrating when you don't, when certain people have inside information that other people don't have, why that can lead to some problems. So I think it's good.
Well, for me,
go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
I can be heard. No, go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm like, go ahead. Go, we listen.
Well, it gets to. I like what you said. It's almost perfect. It's like those injury timelines. So us as fans who aren't privy to everything, sometimes we are, sometimes we ain't. I don't know. It's what it is. If you keep putting somebody questionable, in 2-3 weeks they ain't they ain't questionable. They're out. They're fucking hurt. Yeah. So you can't put that facade anymore, especially because the way Tech plays this year. After week 4, week 5, we have nothing but conference games from the 1st of October to the end of the season. So there is going to be no facades. If somebody's hurt and they keep saying questionable, like they're not questionable, they're out. They're fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Brett played in that game last year, man.
I know.
Was it Syracuse?
It was Syracuse.
Ah, he played it perfect though. You know what I'm saying? No. Now when you talk about cheating, like I'm a cheater. Like I like to cheat when it comes to sports now. Like if I can cheat and get away with it, I'm good. So if you can work that system the way he did, to kind of have some people off to, oh yeah, just warm up and act like we can go. Hey, you got to finish the game and then it looks right though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
If you finish the game and it looks right, then I'm good. But like, yeah, they're gonna put an end to that, man. Because when you start to get into the NIL stuff and you got people that probably have some things tied to it, and this person is marketing this team and they're expecting to see their logo here on this game, and then it doesn't happen. That's where you start to, when money gets involved, some stuff get real. So
true,
definitely.
I mean, we saw that last year when money got involved. A lot of folks that should have been playing didn't play because the money was on the line. So I mean, it is that's how it ends up happening. So this is just the next step with that, with them putting out the injury reports. But it's going to be to the point, hey, if a guy has, they're going to make everybody. So if you're going to play on Wednesday, then they'll monitor it out and look at it. But at the end of the day, man, you got to get wins. That the move that they made with Syracuse was masterful. It was out there. Everybody stayed quiet. I was so proud of that situation, and it is what it is, man. They're gonna have to make people put it out there.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, one more thing before we get into the season, and this is for the future, and it's about money. And Dwight, you're an alumni. Sheldon, you're an alumni. Chris, your son will be an alumni in the near future. Y'all seen it get posted about Witt going to the Board of Visitors Friday this week, and basically saying, we are behind, we need money. Y'all think he's going to get what he needs to get?
Sheldon, go ahead, Sheldon. I'll let
you were harping on this a little earlier, so go for it.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not going to get all of what he's going to get. I think he probably, wants to lay out everything he wants to get, and hopefully you can kind of, meet somewhere in the middle. But it was really a pitch to sort of tell the Board of Visitors, okay, this is what the plan needs to be. This is the funding we need to have. And we need to think about all of the different avenues we can go about to secure that funding. So I certainly have my criticisms of how things have been managed in the past. I think, we saw the Reach for Excellence campaign that started in 2019 was like an 8-year plan. It seems like it doesn't really exist anymore. They had the Football Enhancement Fund that, kind of beat up the coaching salaries a few years ago when Pride came in. But, we're still kind of in this spot where we're constantly trying to play catch up. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of complexities, it comes to like the high level, funding mechanisms and just like the internal politics of these administrations. So I try not to kind of, delve into it too much. But I will say it's good that VT is being proactive and trying to find new solutions. But I just think that in the current environments, without any sort of like fundamental restructuring of certain organizational, certain organizations like the Hokie Club, I think they're fighting a losing battle. So
this podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to Carvana. Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
Grandpa's here.
Hank's always helping out. Grandpa style. Now he's treating his prostate cancer with help from Xtandi enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
No, I'm with you, Shelton. You know what I'm saying? Kind of what you're saying. Maybe some stuff there that you do get, but I mean, it's about wins, though. It's about winning programs. It's about winning sports. You can go, if you attack from a place of power, sure, you make it get what you want. I ain't gonna say you're gonna get all that, but You got to put some stuff together. Win the games you're supposed to win and sneak some you're not in any sport. Then you can start talking about adding stuff and building and all that, because most people, they just get tired of you. You know, they want you gone anyway. So when you go and asking for stuff and you've been not handling it the way you're supposed to, you know, it is what it is. Quick question, though, that was in the chat. Put that up that Marlo posted when she's talking about the reports. It says, is the reports just stating that they're injured, or will it be detailed? That's
I think my understanding is it follows the kind of NFL model of probable, questionable, and outs. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Right. That accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like the NFL does. But But going back to what you said about the money, you know, watching ACC Media Day, for to sit there and listen to Dabo say, I made this decision 17 years ago to do the IPTY thing they do down there at Clemson and things of that nature, and kind of piggybacking with talking to Dwight and with John and with Tally. I'd be wanting to call them all kinds of Jonathan J, Big Yard. You turned around, you missed that window to get that coffer built up a certain kind of way. If you missed that window by just saying, hey, give $10 to the Hokie, you know, this whatever month, you know, I don't have to give. I give, my wife gives every month. And it's just to the point of saying, yeah, you did that when you were in your heyday, you wouldn't have had this problem with talking about we had money for this, that, and the third. It's great that they had a plan for it, but they kind of missed that window. So now we're to the point of now where everybody's throwing money into it, and now we're playing catch up. So it's going to take a minute for us to do it. But winning helps people open people's wallet up a lot quicker if you win.
I feel like, and I'm old school on some stuff, new school on other topics. I feel like it's a simple formula. And, you know, if you the guy, you know, I'm a movie guy, so you like the movie Casino, when, you know, he kept having to go back when Nikki was acting up, and Robert De Niro had to go back and talk to the people and like, I need this, I need that. Like, they were like, yo, make us money. You better make sure these gambling, you know, because Robert De Niro's role in Casino, if you haven't seen it, he went there to make the mafia money, right? With Babcock is Robert De Niro. He got, when you go to the Board of County Supervisors and all of that, you got to bring money, because when I say bring money, I'm talking about to wins equal revenue. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I agree with Chris's sentiments, you know, the whole notion of we missed the window, but you can circle back on this. The thing about it is that football drives the bus. Women's basketball is great. Men's basketball at times is hit or miss. I like Mike Young, but football drives the bus. Track and field has been elite. They win conference championships, golf.
Yeah.
But for decades, Virginia Tech fans mocked UVA for celebrating soccer and lacrosse, right? When they were going 5 and 7 and 4 and 8. I've always said you don't want to become that school. 6 and 7 is not the standard. So, like, if Chris say, hey, Vic, we need you to put in for this money, this cash app, give us this money. Eventually, I'm like, yo, Chris, when I'm going to see the results on my investment, right?
Absolutely.
And
you want some ROI.
A lot of fans,
you want some ROI.
Especially in this economy right now, you got to be very mindful. Now, I know a lot of Tech fans, them golden Hokies and platinum Hokies, they'll donate, they'll give money. I did the Bud Foster joint last year up here in Northern Virginia, the Lunch Pail fundraiser. And they had me there because they were like, you know, whatever, storyteller, the way I tell stories about Tech and just who I am. I was honored to be there. And they donated to Bud Foster. I was in that joint, like, I'm looking at my wallet. I got to make sure I got enough gas to get home.
Get home.
They was in that joint who, you know, they would just auction off jerseys and lunch pails, and they throwing money. And these are good people. I'm at the table with them. They were asking about the Orange Bowl and my thoughts. Me and Bud go way back, obviously. They'll give money if they believe in it. But I just feel like right now, man, like the product right now, we really would benefit from a major run right now just to get the morale and energy up. Because the one entity that hasn't disappointed yet, despite the turnover and mishaps, are the fans. They've continued to show up.
You know? Right.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
they've been consistent.
And that's why This season is always important.
Definitely. Definitely brings us to why we're here today, just to talk a little bit about the season preview, what we're gonna be dealing with. Big season for Brett Pry. Big season for him. Probably most important season he's had since he's been here at Virginia Tech. A lot of moves have been made this offseason. Thank the Lord. Jesus, thank you. I'm glad you got rid of that stupid ass offensive line coach. Thank you. I can go on and on, but I'm just saying a lot of things have been changed up, moved around. Great. How y'all feeling about this season, and which move do y'all think kind of was the best move in each of y'all's opinion? I'm gonna start with Shelton.
Well, I would say, I think they needed to change the DC, even though it was kind of weird because some of the stats were good, but it was kind of weird because you had like a bunch of wins against backup quarterbacks, who weren't that good, and there were some issues with linebackers development. So I think that was more of like a qualitative assessment from Pride rather than a quantitative one. I think he just felt like we didn't have enough consistency at the linebacker position, which was more of a specialty or supposed specialty. So I like Seifkes. I really think, though, in terms of what was the biggest upgrade, I think it was probably offensive line, getting Matt Moore. I think they really botched that room over the past couple of years with how poorly they recruited it and the development. We talk a lot about how much the O-line kind of hampered the rest of the offense. Kyron getting injured, not being able to, having to rely on Tune all the time. Tune gets injured. So there were a lot of missteps there, as Tally alluded to. So I'm really excited. And Matt Moore is a very well reputable coach. Obviously, the job he did at West Virginia, bring in some transfers who are really talented. Remak, Altuner, a couple other guys. So I'm really excited about that room. I just hope that Pry can be here long enough to sort of see the fruition of that work come together. So if I had to vote for one, I would say Matt Moore probably be my biggest one. I'm really excited about him.
Chris, what you got for me?
Listen, man, all that sounds great, but the biggest addition, man, was the guy who was already in the building.
Don't take my answer.
I got it. I'm getting it. I'm taking it. Strength and conditioning was everything. We saw so many times in the third quarter they wilted because they were not strong enough. You had games that you should have won last year. When you watch Cam Ward, Dagum, since we movie buffs, right? You remember when Sunshine flipped the linebacker after my man got hurt? That's what Cam Ward did to Burgos and Spencer on a fourth down play, and you win and you beat Miami. You get your signature win, and it changes the whole complexion. But strength and conditioning was everything. Guys were in there not getting healthy. People were getting hurt, not coming back. Stroman left here. Stroman turned around and got hurt the year before. He got back, and he played one game in Vanderbilt and never got back on the field. That is all strength and conditioning. So getting Jared Ferguson, getting him the job, my guy, my dude, and they look bigger, they look stronger, they look faster. My kid looking like, I got to get a baseball bat on him and stuff like that. I'm just saying that's the biggest thing. To be able to be strong down in the third and fourth quarter, and that makes the difference. We lost so many games because we were winded and not strong enough to win. That's my guy. That's it.
So I'm gonna throw this, Dwight. I know he jumped on you. I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that.
I was gonna get because we talked about it.
For the record, in your Twitter Spaces post game, I said this after game 2, because after the Vanderbilt game, I said that. I said when you're up 27-20, I don't care if you're on the road or a neutral site or even at home, you finish that game. Vanderbilt, you came back and you're up 7. And I know it was unbearably hot, but you don't lose that game. A Tech defense that had experience that doesn't lead that. But Chris took my answer, but yeah, go ahead.
Bad, bro.
No. So what I was going to throw to you, Dwight, just because I knew that was your answer too, to kind of feed off that, because you've been in those locker rooms, you've played. A lot of people ask the question because they don't know. Some people will say, well, what's strength and conditioning have to do, or what does a strength and conditioning coach have to do with injuries, or when somebody's injured and getting back. That should be the doctor that handles that. So can you speak about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I just think, when I remember my guy Drift on Twitter, he said, "Oh, I didn't know anybody was calling for that." Then like 100 people tagged me, and he was like, "Oh, I never saw you tweeting about him being fired." I'm like, "Yo, dude, no disrespect, but that's what I ain't calling for nobody." I always laugh when people do that, calling people to be fired. I see everybody that I rock with on Twitter. He needs to be fired. They ain't listening to you. You got 77.5 followers. They're not listening to you. You're not listening.
0.5.
Hey, I was yelling. I'd definitely be yelling for folks to get fired.
I get it. That's but from me, I'm always going to be logical about it. I just put it out there because I know people hear me and see what I post. When it comes to strength and conditioning, if you watch the ACC Media Day, when Eddie Royal asked Drones about it and the transfer from Wake, they both put their head down. It was like, yo, Jared, man, JD. And when he got the job, you saw all the guys from those 2000 teams, all the guys that played during the early ACC years in 2004 and those years talk about what Jared meant to them, the J.R. Collins and all those guys, right? I don't think fans understand, even if you played, when it gets to the Power 4, the D2, the D3, or even mid-major level, your strength and conditioning is the foundation of your program. Two things have to be in play: your recovery and also your endurance, which includes mental toughness.
Yes.
They were not conditioning during the season. I know this to be. They were not conditioning. Off season, the strength coach encouraged them, not Jared, the other one that he replaced, encouraged them to work out with other people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to understand the off-season program, when the dead period happens, coaches can't talk to players. They can't even be in the room. Does it happen? Yeah, but most of the time, you talk to anybody that's played, you might see your position coach. They're out recruiting, coaching clinics, golf, vacationing. That means who has the players during the off-season? The strength and conditioning.
Yep.
So this means, like, again, I know I'm the OG, I'm old, but here's the thing, I'm still relevant. That means running stadium steps with a weighted vest on, flipping tires, pushing pickup trucks. This is what Jared brings to the table. He's a Mike Gentry disciple with a modern day approach.
Absolutely.
And what I'm saying, he knows what he's doing. Yep. It's not just an exercise science degree you got out of a box of Cheerios. This is a guy that has been at UNC.
He still look like he can play.
Yeah, man. This guy played. He was a weight room warrior, but from relative, Chris, I didn't mean any harm. I was playing with him when he took my answer because I said this to him. We talk after games, me, him, and Tally.
Yep. Yeah.
And I talked to Chris Coleman from Tech Sideline, and I kept saying, we don't know how to finish. I said they got to learn how to win, but finishing is like, I remember, I hate to bring up ODU, that loss at ODU, but I remember, and that was a 3-18, but I remember my son looked at me and said, we're going to lose this game. We had 4 dropped interceptions, and he was like, we're not making game-winning plays. Now you say, well, Vic, what does that have to do with strength and conditioning? Mental toughness, fatigue, and I quote, makes cowards of us all.
Of us all. That's a Jimmy Johnson quote.
When you're tired and you're playing a solid Syracuse, and this is how I know this works. Every game last year we were up. Syracuse, Clemson, we were dominating. Yep. I began to get a little churn in my stomach because in my mind, I'm like, man, hopefully we can hold on because we're not going to hold up. We don't hold up. Here's another example. Go back and check the tape. I know, Sheldon, you're great at this. Check the tape. Look how many times in those games, in conference games where you win 2-3 of them, you go into a better bowl, more money, more exposure. Look at the times it was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, and we just get the pile just moves. And I'm like, man, we are soft.
Or you playing Miami and you're trying to win and you go for a fake field goal.
Yeah, run it down there and throw. So again, I didn't mean to be long-winded on that answer, but I'm very passionate about it because it's not just about, because somebody said, well, that guy last year, he had that squat record. I said, listen, man, anybody that's played high school ball, college, or even pro knows it's a lot of guys right now. I'm a member of Lifetime Athletic here in Gainesville. I see guys in there like, "Hoo-ah!" and I'd be looking at them, they'd be doing all that stuff, making noise. I'd be looking at him, I'm like, you know what? I would run through him on 4th and 1. Pause. But I would destroy him. I get you. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
No, because it's got to be functional and movable weight, and which is great because Kamari Copeland is a workout warrior, loves the gym, does all those different things. But it's just the attitude around the whole gym and around the program with those guys that they're cohesive to working together, cheering for each other, and they fight their asses off to get to the weekend. And that's what Ferg makes them understand that. I love the fact that the old guy had like attack the day. But when we're attacking the day and nobody's coming back from injury, guys are getting soft tissue injuries and they don't come back and we are not finishing games. Vanderbilt, we got tired. Syracuse, we got tired. Every time we turn around in a game, we lost 6 games. And the only game that we were out of the game, totally where we didn't think we would win, was the bowl game. All the rest of them we could have won. You win 3 of those daggum games, we ain't even it's a totally different vibe around there. Me and Dwight probably would have talked every day. Dwight ain't want to talk to me because Dwight was like, I ain't trying to hear none of that. We got to go win.
Curtis, you mute, homie. I'll jump in.
While you get together, I want to say, while you get your sound together, Shelton's point about Matt and the O-line coach, that is probably my 1A answer. I will say this. Everyone knows I advocated for Todd Washington, and it wasn't just because of our brotherhood and the fact that I felt he was qualified. I just felt like, and I've tweeted this every year when you had Alabama and Georgia playing for the national championship or the college football playoff, I kept saying on Twitter, I kept saying on my pods and different things with my guy Danny Notes, look at the direct correlation between the very good football programs. We tend to look at the sexy positions, the receivers and the running backs and the 5-stars. It's the LOS, the line of scrimmage. If you look, not just the SEC, looking even in the ACC, the O-line and D-line play have to be critical. I thought both coordinators that were let go, Bowen and Marv, showed flashes. I just felt like the inexperience did us in.
Yep.
And I felt like, with the O-line thing, it reminded me when Wyatt Teller was here, when it was like, yo, what are we doing? I kept, hearing from the people in the program, well, he's young. The other guy has tenure. I said, Wyatt Teller is a cyborg. Put him on the field.
Absolutely.
What are we waiting for? And then they finally put him in, and look, he's an all-pro.
Yep.
So we got to start, and I know we're going to tap into that, but we got to start really getting into putting guys in position that we know can help us quicker with a sense of urgency. And if a guy's going to leave because he got benched or he's not performing, let him go.
Let him go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll chime in with this real quick before we kick off to the next question. I think in general, we talk about what's the best move. Just making moves in general. Knowing 6-7, 7-6 is not the standard at Virginia Tech. That is the first thing that people can fucking hate Brent Pry. I hate him. He's stupid. I want him fired. At least he had the balls to fire a kid that he coached. He fired him to fire other people, to make quick moves. And believe it or not, I don't think we've had this much experience at a coordinator position in a long-ass time. So, Sheldon, you kick it off from there because we do have a new offensive coordinator who actually's got a decent freaking background.
Yep, that's right. Talking some offense here. Phil Montgomery comes in as OC. He was the head coach at Tulsa and doubled as the OC there as well. He had a pretty good track record of turning out quarterbacks, although it was more so in the early 2010s, obviously with RG3 and a couple more when he was at Tulsa. But obviously, Kyron Drones regressed last season. We talked before about how the Hokies were not as efficient in the short horizontal passing games. Teams started to really take that away, and that was their bread and butter during the 2023 season. Then you had injuries, offensive line did not do him a ton of favors. All that combined to make for a not great season statistically for Kyron, even though, he was obviously running a lot and, kind of got worn down as the season progressed. So I'll throw this to Dwight because I'm interested to get his opinion here to start. What element of his gameplay does Kyron kind of need to recapture from that 2023 season to get back to the form that we kind of know he can be at?
That's a great question. I'm a KD fan. I said last year he should have been the year before that he should have been started because I felt like he gave us a different dynamic. Virginia Tech was ahead of the curve in their program when it came to dual threat mobile quarterbacks long before it became fashionable, long before Mike got there. When you go back to the days of Mario Shiseijo, this is not to minimize my guy Will Ferrell and Jim Druckenmiller and even Brewer, their ability to win games and what they did from the pocket. But I felt like Virginia Tech was ahead of the game because if you look at the NFL right now, everything is RPO action. With the exception of the kid at the Chargers and a few other players, everything is they've adjusted and brought RPO to the NFL. So much that they've talked about how long you can hold the ball with the zone read because it's too much of an unfair advantage. I felt like the drones we saw that first year, yes, they had more tape on him last year, but I felt like he was healthy, but I also felt like he was in control. I said in Don V or Tally's live, I said once Pride gives him the keys to the car that first year he took over, you're going to see him excel. And Pride kept, saying, well, we need everybody, all hands on deck. And I said, he's got to give him the key. I know KD, but I don't know him personally like that. I know football players and I know the mindset. And once he got to the keys to the car, you saw him take off. They won 7 games and they finished the season on a strong note. Tootin and him were a great combination. I felt last year we went away from the game plan. So for example, I think Brady's the GOAT. And the pushback to me when people say Tom Brady's not the GOAT because of the system, I always say, name an offense in any level of football that doesn't have a system. When I played for when I played for Ricky Bussell and Steinspring and those guys that coached at Tech, we had a system. I felt like last year, the Vanderbilt game, I remember that game. I'm like, why are we coming out in 4 and 5 wides, empty sets, throwing the ball, run the ball? When you a healthy running game is a quarterback's best friend. What I look for Jones to do this year is to play free. Don't think about the draft. You saw flashes of it where he looked like himself against Miami. He played great against Miami because the running game with Pearson Prelo's son and Tootin were helping him. I also think in order to help him, please, for the love of God, can we please start using tight ends again? Not just in the RPO, but down the seam. We never attack, not consistently, the middle of the field. I'm like, stop putting him and throwing 9 routes to these receivers when you're not making the safety read the field. I feel like, people talk about, the pushback was drones can't see the field. I feel like his tackle didn't make him feel comfortable, and they never even took him out the game. I played O-line. Never talking about a quarterback feeling comfortable. He's got to feel protected from his blind side and up the middle. We never looked like we ever addressed blitz pickup, even off of bye weeks. I'm like, how do you not know exotic blitzes and how to read different fronts?
But they weren't exotic. They weren't exotic, Dwight.
No, some of them were. Some of them were where they go. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the majority of the time is that he get the ball and he turned around, and by the time he look up, somebody's on his ass.
So what I'm talking about is like zone blitzes. So when the defensive tackle drops and the linebackers come up in the gaps, understanding gap integrity from the offensive line perspective. So the answer to put a bow on Sheldon's question, man, I really need drones to be able to have a healthy running game and see the field and play his game and just get out of bounds, slide more. I think when you have a quarterback that's dynamic like him, you see it with Lamar. You saw what my cousin got with Morningway and Andy Reid when he got to Philly. They allow, yes, you can talk about Deshaun Jackson and Macklin, but I felt like having a Shady McCoy and quarterback RPO-friendly plays really helped him. What makes Mahomes great? No one knows for those watching, and that's going to see this. I'm not saying drones is Mahomes. I'm saying Mahomes, when Kelsey was injured and they took away Tariq Hill when he left, you saw him struggle a bit. And he did not have a great season last year. Wow. So Drones is still a dynamic quarterback, and he's healthy. But I feel like even without Tootin, you got to have run game. And that means whoever the number 1 running back going into the season, I said this as well, the Georgia Tech game when Drones got injured that hampered him, I said in week 2, stop running drones so much and stop relying on one running back like you don't have other running backs. And we were up 21-10 or something like that.
21-3.
21-3, and it's like take 2 now. So it's you can run. I feel like sometimes Shelton and everyone else, when coaches, OCs get a mobile, dynamic quarterback, they don't really know how to use him. Mm-hmm. And design runs are cool, but not so much to the point where the O-line up front in the middle is not getting a push. So then all that stuff falls on drones. So people talk about the backward pass against Rutgers or the tip interception that he threw when they were coming back to drive. I think all of that stuff comes down to continuity and confidence. I feel like as confidence he was, I felt like last year I saw him pressing a lot because he didn't feel comfortable in the offense. Yeah. And I no disrespect to Tyler Bourne. I know him personally.
Disrespect to him.
Disrespect.
He can't be.
We gonna talk. Let's talk.
He can't be a quarter. That was a lazy promotion. He can't be a quarterback coach. And the thing about it is that I never played quarterback. When I talk to, let me think, Mike, Tyrod, guys that I'm close to, they talk about the quarterback coach. Like Marcus Vick, when he was there, they had the dude from NC State. I forgot his name. Michael Caine. He loved Michael Caine. He talked about him glowingly because he said he taught him so much. And that's what we need. So I feel like Shelton kind of touched on it. Like Drones has got to be him. And he's just got to understand you're going to have a shot to play in the league regardless because you have the measurables and the skill set. But the offensive coordinator has to help him. Look back to my cousin's Heisman year. There was no Heisman campaign. He finished third in the Heisman. And a lot of times he would only pass the ball in the game 16, 17 times.
Absolutely.
Now, and then he had screens, slants, non-route, play action rollouts to Ricky Hall and Andre Davis. And guess what? Go back. I know that was 1999, so everybody calm down. I'm saying tight ends, Slokowski and Browning Wynn were a major part of the game plan. Jim Druckenmiller had Brian Jennings. Tyrod Taylor – I'm not Tyrod, excuse me, Brian Randall had Jeff King. And Marcus Vick had Jeff King. Who is Drones tight end last year?
Benji Gosnell and his brother Steven Gosnell,
but Benji Gosnell was not utilized. Remember what did I tell you?
Benji Gosnell was used on screens. Benji Gosnell was not used, as you said, Dwight, up the seam.
Yes,
making the safeties have to think. The safeties instead of working against Benji, we're jumping all of that short and intermediate stuff that Shelton was talking about earlier, and that blew that up. You got safeties playing at or behind the line of scrimmage making plays because we're dumping the ball off to a tight end or throwing something short to a running back and not
we're throwing something
using the whole field to our advantage in a way that makes sense, in a way that gives the quarterback some confidence. And I think that's the big thing for me is that, you know, Dwight, you touched on it. Like, confidence was the big thing. And when we look back at 23, when we saw Kyron playing with confidence, that's the Kyron that we know, and that's the Kyron that can go out there and take over games. Right. And I think between a combination of offensive line problems, injuries, and just not utilizing the tools of the offense in a way that makes sense, it put Kyron behind the 8 ball. And like you said, Dwight, he started pressing. Sometimes when you have an ability, when you are a highly able, talented quarterback, and things aren't quite going the way you want to, you end up trying to do too much. And I feel like there was a lot of moments last year where he was trying to do too much because he wasn't getting the help and support that he needed.
Yeah, you're right. I see the message. O'Kane, you're right. O'Kane came later.
Yeah, it was Rodgers.
But either way, you get my drift. And this one final point to what you're saying, B. I told this to Chris because he's got a son on the team. I'm not surprised. I'm up here in the DMV. I'm not surprised Lane is killing it in Washington right now. I know it's early. You know why? Because when I talk about versatility and coaching and game planning, I said Lane was our most consistent, my favorite, and most reliable wide receiver. We only used him one way in our offense. We never used him. You never saw him, and if you did, he still didn't get a touch like he should. Daquan Felton was only used on straight 9 routes. So you never really made the offense versatile. And I kept saying, I said, Virginia Tech didn't realize everybody in the ACC, how y'all came on strong last year, they're going to watch tape. I don't think the average fan realizes even with teams that don't make bowl games, or even if you make a bowl game, for the quality staffs to really elite staffs, there's a group of coaches that are game planning for next year.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So it's like they think, oh, well, how do they know? We didn't do anything. We went to that Vanderbilt game like Vanderbilt didn't watch film.
Didn't watch nothing. Didn't watch anything that we did last year.
Chris, what do you think?
What a difference a year tape makes. So my biggest thing is that you didn't have an identity. See, this is the beautiful thing about Coach Pride. That most people, he'll say something if you listen, and he'll tell you exactly how he feels. He said at the ACC media day, we had to recreate the wheel every week. We had no identity of what the offense was going to be from week to week. We were great from the 20 to the 20, and then we scored more touchdowns on reverses, trick plays, and screens like that inside the red zone. Nothing that was a staple play that you could go and win. You couldn't beat Miami when you turn around and got that great play by Spencer up the sideline. You need to make a point right there. I'm getting 10 yards no matter what. And you didn't have 4 plays that you could say, I'm going to run these 4 plays and stick and get this first down and put Miami away. You score then, Miami fold, and you beat them in their building. So the biggest thing is having a guy like Coach Montgomery who has had a track record. If you go back and look at it, we always want to go back to RG3. But go back and look at it. He's always had a 1,000-yard receiver, a couple of guys that got 600, 700, 800 yards, and a 1,000-yard running back. So they're going to spread it out, get the ball in people's hands who can make plays, and go from there. The offensive line is going to be amazing because the one thing Kyron needs more than anything else is time. He don't need a lot. He just needs time. There were times where we would see Bayshaw and him getting met with the defensive end or the defensive tackle in the backfield. Bayshaw dang near led the country or was tops in the ACC for broken tackles because he was always fighting a guy off right when he's getting the ball. So having time, having experienced OC, this is probably the best OC they've had. I put this
in a while.
Ricky Bussell.
This is the best. This is the right.
No shot on time spring.
Right. Hey, let's slow down. Let's see what he do first. I know what his track record is.
Experience.
We got to see it. Let me see what he do.
At least be proven to know what he's doing. Now, he was down in your neck of the woods, Tally, with Auburn, but you already had an egomaniac and Freeze in
they had a
there anyway.
coaching staff.
Right. So Freeze wanted to call plays anyway. So I just believe Coach Monty comes with a system. He's going to get the very best. He's going to highlight what Kyron does great, right? And then enhance the things that he doesn't do well. But I can tell you this right now. Y'all can go look at all the tape you want to last year. Jay Lane didn't run a slant all year.
No, he didn't.
He didn't run a slant.
That's dumb.
All year. That's absolutely asinine. Huh?
What did he run? 4.37 at the combine? He ran a 4.37 and he never ran a 9.
Never ran
a 9 last year.
But you turn around and, like I said, you had no identity. You had no offensive identity. You were, if Bayshaw breaks one or – we get inside the 20, we're going to run reverse with Aiden Green. We're going to run a double reverse. We're going to throw double reverse, Philly special, throw over the top to Kyron. We're going to do some janky stuff to score touchdowns, but we never turned around and just, hey, we got patented plays to use people. Benji Gosnell scored his touchdown win against Miami. Why? Because we went right up the seam. Right up the seam.
Yeah, that's what you got. Y'all said his name a few times, so let's talk about him and what's going to happen since we lost him. Bashal Tuden, 2 seasons at Tech, definitely stamped himself up there in the upper echelon. Over 2,000 yards, single game record, 266 against BC. I watched that out here in the backyard that night, but he's gone.
Yeah,
you don't just replace that guy. You never just replace that guy. But you had what Tyler Mason showed. We had what Jeremiah showed against Syracuse, and for some reason, the fucking next week, you couldn't rid him one time. Sorry. That's going to stick on me.
I mean,
he went 9 for 96, and he didn't get one carry against Clemson. But of the young guys on the roster, of the portal guys, because you see some of those guys running play, they have skill sets. Chris Lester, who's your favorite player to fill some of that void?
For me, I like the Bennett kid a lot. I like the Bennett kid a lot only because of his experience. But I think the offense is just going to be a little bit different because I think what's going to end up happening is going to be just get the ball in space to people. So I don't think it's going to be so much traditional that we got like Tootin would get like 16 carries. If you look at most of the time, it's 16 to 24 carries. I think if you mix a combination, because talking to some of the coaches, they understand that you don't change a pro from a pro, but the depth you have from Prelo to Bennett to Terrion, you got what they call him Bully. Terrion Stewart, and then you turn around, you got the Hawkins kid, and then I just kind of want to see what Coney and Mason have in this. I think to do what I expect us to do this year, you're going to have to – it's going to be spread across the board. I know Coach Pride said I'm going with 3 out the gate, but for you to do what you got to do this year, you probably going to have to run all 5 of those cats because that was the problem last year. You walked into games where this guy was nicked up. He had an ankle down. This other kid, we don't want to play him yet because he's a red shirt. This guy, he made one fumble, and then the OC decides not to play him no damn more. It's just goofy stuff like that you're not going to have happen this year now that you got a more experienced OC.
What about you, Dwight? You've been watching some of these guys, kind of figuring out.
I'm disappointed I didn't get to the spring game to see that because that's usually kind of when I remember. I'm getting old. The kid that Bud Foster. I talked to him after the game. They switched him from. He got hurt, but he had 3 picks against Florida State. His mom passed away. The cornerback. He got drafted by the Tennessee. Who?
Caleb Farley.
Caleb Farley. So I remember going to that spring game, and Caleb Farley was that receiver. And I said, good Lord, he's got to see the field. But then I talked to Bud, and they were going to move him to corner. But the thing about it is I remember, and I'm not a prophet, but I know what I know, and I speak on what I know, and I see what I see, and I call it out there. I remember the 2 spring games ago, I saw little Pilo because I played with Pearson. Yep. And I said, I was on the sidelines. I said, that kid is a baller. And then he had a 77-yard touchdown run against Miami.
And he called out on phantom hold. Yeah.
But even then, this is what I mean about the courage to play people. Malachi Thomas had that rushing record and that flash that freshman year, but he was never fully healthy. And at that moment, you got to give in the season, even before the Miami game, Tootin breathers. So I'm big on Pearson Prelo's son, Little Pilo. I know he probably don't like calling him Little Pilo, but I'm just saying, like, he just, to me, is a player that is a tech running back, a Mike Emo type guy that people look at Cedric Humes and Mike Emo, Thunder and Lightning. They, we know about Kevin Jones and Lee Suggs, but I feel like, again, when I said to start the show how we try to fast forward the process and we get impatient, we don't realize that a lot of the guys that have been in the tech threshold that are household names don't always start that way. Corey Moore did not come to Tech as a household name. Ken Chancellor only had 1 offer, and it wasn't a real committable offer. He was a hooper down in Maury. He played football and basketball, and at the time he was a better basketball player. So a lot of guys, Mike Emo and Cedric Humes, who I mentioned, were both blue-collar guys. There was not a lot of build-up, but that the 1-2 punch of them really worked well. I feel like Pilo is a guy that can be part of a 1-2 punch. I'm really big on him getting a healthy amount of carries because he has the burst and vision, and he's not on anybody's scouting report. Tootin, to me, you look at his career in those 2 years, him and the other kid, Khalil Herbert, what they did at Tech as transfers and how dynamic they were, they really carried a lot of the load on the offensive production. But we fumbled the bag on how we use both of them. I'm not talking about what they did on the field as players. I'm saying there's a level of gamemanship and scheme you have to do when you have certain players that are once in a lifetime or just really elite type players. I think the backfield will be a backfield by committee, but I think the OC already knows that. But you can win games. There was times Tech won 9 games when Kevin Jones got hurt and Keith Brunell and guys like that came in and were all serviceable. Keith Brunell had a great game in Big East play against some tough opponents. We knew he wasn't going to be taking Kevin Jones' spot, but you had him. Again, I'm not trying to make it back like back in the day, just to keep it relevant. I just feel like Pilo, can really help us, because I just felt like that run against Miami, I still remember it. And I remember I was looking at my TV like they called it back, but I was like, that run, he was running away from Miami players.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw this out right quick for y'all. I know Shelton probably got this in the back of his head. I have to look up stuff. I can't remember stats like Shelton. You go back and look at the Vanderbilt game last year. It'll make you sick. I watched it again. Oh, yeah. Can anybody guess how many carries we talk about? Because this question started with Tootin. Can anybody remember how many carries Tootin had?
14.
9. Tootin had 9 carries for 34 yards. Yep. Kyron had 16 carries for 19 yards.
Gotcha. Yep.
That was really the only 2 people who carried the ball. Then you had Malachi Thomas had 1 carry. You can't win games like that against teams. So just to kind of tie both of these topics that we've had together, when you talk about the OC and you talk about the production that you're going to have to replace, it don't even matter about production if you ain't using what you got. And I kept saying when I was talking to somebody, I was sitting beside our buddy Greg and his family. And Greg's he's real knowledgeable in football. He kept saying, why are we scared to run the ball?
Right.
What are we doing? Why are we scared to even try to run the ball? And it was so many games where it looked like we was throwing stuff against the wall and
don't
seeing
talk to me about Clemson.
A bunch of games of that.
Don't talk to me about Clemson.
Yeah.
I seen Tootin one time look at the sidelines and pound his chest and tell them to give me the ball.
Yep.
But then now, as Virginia Tech fans or even coaches, you think that's probably one of the best running backs that we've seen at Virginia Tech in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And he's looking to the sideline, telling his OC to give me the ball. And people was mad at me because I said, if you're going to fire the DC, fire the OC. Oh, no, he had a good offense now, JT. Oh, that guy was pretty good. And you're just, man, get that motherfucker out of here. He wasn't doing nothing. What are y'all talking about?
I'll put you like this,
What are y'all talking about? Get this dude out of here and get somebody in here who knows what they're doing. You just told me Jay Lane, who is one of the fastest receivers that we've had, didn't run no slants last year.
None.
I just told you that in one of the biggest games, even it was Vanderbilt, but it was an SEC opponent, and it was the first game of the year with all this hype. You get your dynamic running back, who's one of the best that we've seen in 20 years, 9 carries in the first game of the year.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, JT, too. Like, Jared, I was amazed. I'm a big Lane fan. He's the type of receiver that'll get in the league and have a breakout rookie season and get a contract. And you're like, damn. And you look at his Tech highlights, and they're pro. So here's the thing. He was such a good athlete. We used him at running back when the depth of running back was. He was in the backfield going in motion. They used him on a few jet sweeps. He just was a dynamic athlete. But I remember that about Tootin. That game, Vanderbilt, I just felt like we came in there and we were sleepwalking and there was no energy, and I just didn't understand it because all the hype around it. And I look at last year as one of the most embarrassing seasons in Tech history. It's very reminiscent of the 2003 team. The 2003 team in Virginia Tech history was arguably the most talented team in Tech history. That is Ernest Wilford, Ryan Randall, Marcus Vick. This is a team that snapped Miami's 35-game winning streak. They won at Texas A&M when they had not lost a non-conference game at 12 years. Yet they lost to Boston College at home. They had Kevin Jones. They lost games in conference. They barely beat Temple, and they beat Temple by 1 point, I believe, in Philly. That team underachieved. That had Jake Grove, arguably the best center in the history of Tech, along with Stephon, All-American. I can go on and on, right? This last year, I remember somebody said on one of y'all lives y'all did, Tally, where they were like, oh, well, just because you returned 21 of 22 seniors doesn't mean how talented they are. No. It's not about them being extremely talented and elite. It's more so they should have been more familiar with the system. There was no sense of urgency in games. It was predictable. We didn't seize the moment. The fake field goal against Miami showed no confidence when drones and that offense were, from the beginning of that game, we saw the team that Tech was supposed to be. So for me, I know we haven't gotten there yet. When I look at this year, whoever the best players are on offense and defense, you got to put them on the field. You got to, especially, I know y'all haven't, but especially, listen, I don't always subscribe to the hot seat notion, but I really feel like Tech as a program is in the crossroads right now because you're teetering on irrelevancy. And you really need to win 8 or more games by any means necessary.
This is the year it's got to happen, because if it doesn't happen this year, even if you get a stay of execution from a firing standpoint for this regime, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball heading into next year, where it's a make or break. And I feel like this year is really just as much of a make or break because, like you said, Dwight, we're falling behind. I think, when we look at what Pride did this offseason, with the shuffling, I think the most important position that we needed to shuffle is at that offensive line spot. We got Matt Moore in there now.
Yes.
He was kind of brought in to kind of fix a lot of what kind of went sideways between the Rudolph, 1 year
Crook,
and getting out there. Then you had Crook coming in late. We heard about, zooming into practices and stuff like that. I mean,
the fuck? What?
All sorts of crazy stuff.
That's what's out there on the street. That's what's out on the street.
That was on the street. That was on the street.
Hey, Brian, imagine his face. Imagine Matt's face when he turned, because when you get a new job, you go through the files. But as a football coach, you go through the tape. Imagine his face when he looked at them taking false steps and letting guys run right through the middle and getting pushed back when your lineman sacking his own quarterback. Imagine his face. I mean, for real, like imagine, because I'm hearing you talk. I'm like, he had to be with his, they call it the clicker, with the thing doing like this. Like,
he
probably did.
It's like, what am I looking at? Yeah, what am I looking at?
He probably did. He probably was like Kilmer from Varsity Blues. Jesus Christ.
When I was looking at the tape myself, I'm like, we got to do something better. Like the offensive line didn't look cohesive. We had guys that were liabilities. We can name names, we cannot name names, but we know who we're talking about. We had guys that were liabilities on that offensive line.
Never
stayed in the game. That stayed in the game. But now we got Matt Moore in. He brought some of his own, as our man
brought his
said.
Louis.
He's like
he brought his Louis.
Brought in some of his own guys.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit something coming in here. Can this new mix of talent, with a little bit better coaching at the OC standpoint, what's kind of the ceiling y'all think for this room relative to what we've seen the last couple of years?
Last couple of years or just last couple of years?
Yeah, just last couple of years overall.
So last year was an absolute F. So let's go ahead and get this out since we're talking. There was only one guy that I wanted to have come back. Xavier Chaplin was the only kid I wanted to come back. The rest of them, hey, man, they can go and do whatever they wanted to do. There was alleged that somebody wanted to be paid the highest paid center in the ACC or in the country. I'm glad he's down there where he's at. He about to get his ass ran through because he was god awful. You go watch the tape. I watched him get Pop Watson sacked 8 times. Watch Pop Watson get sacked 8 times. I watched my backup quarterback get a damn concussion because he was terrible. His brother didn't want to thank the program when he left. Great, no problem. Carry your ass. You turned around, you had Bob Schick. He's a great family guy. Beautiful kid. I'm glad whatever he's doing, he goes and does. So if he's at Enterprise, Lowe's, Home Depot, I don't give a damn. Don't ever get on a football field again. And to turn around and have
he on one.
Clemens, and no, I don't think he is, but no.
Yeah, he is.
Where?
Oklahoma State.
Okay, well, guess what? That quarterback gonna get hurt. But then you turn around and you take Parker Clemens and to turn around and for them to consistently take his jolly ass out there and smile and get his ass beat every damn time.
Hey, I gotta throw this in too, Chris, while you're going on your tangent.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come back and let you finish. The OC is now a offensive line coach at a national championship school.
But that's what I'm saying. So for him to be the OC and to see this offensive line be as bad as it is, and I understand we didn't have depth, but to turn around and not to play Johnny Garrett at right tackle and to damn near had that boy break his damn foot in that Rutgers game, right, is criminal. That is criminal on so many daggum levels. So everybody down Kyron, oh, he's regressed. Man, if a joker is stepping on my goddamn foot and I'm getting sacked and I turn around, dude, we played against Marshall. The goal was to throw a 9 route, the first play. Man, I watched Mike Green come off the side and like lickety split. And it was in the damn backfield. Georgia Tech, the same thing. We weren't even supposed to be out there that damn long. The goal was to get up and bring in Kyle and Slee. You can't, because Parker's in there blowing the damn game plan out the gate. For Tyler Bowen to turn around and go take a job as being an offensive line coach when he is an excellent recruiter and not bring any other offensive line in here is fucking criminal.
I'll say this. I knew of Tyler Bowen because he coached with my brother Ty Washington at Jacksonville. So I texted him. I met Tyler Bowen back in the day when he was working his way up the coaching ladder. We met at a coaching's clinic in Tysons, Virginia, up here in Northern Virginia. He's probably going to kill it at offensive line because he was the run game coordinator with Jacksonville Jaguars. So he had no experience calling plays, and he had some moments. But the truth be told, he'll probably excel in that position. And I think what the reason why is not just because of his knowledge of the game. The one thing we haven't touched on, but I touched on last year during the season, is that when you look at Virginia Tech in the football program with Fuente and Pride the last few years, and this is on Witt and the energy around the program, there's got to be accountability, right? Like, so I'm a small business. I own 2 small businesses. I have people that work for me. I'm in meetings. I got 3 cell phones. I am a very important person here in Northern Virginia, and I have people that work for me. So my Vicktory Life brand is spread out from podcasting to commencement speeches to doing appearances and also psychiatric hospitals. So I've cornered the market on those realms, right? If somebody, which I've had to fire people, because if I get a call and there's multiple grievances, you have to leave my group. You have to leave my agency. I don't care. I had to fire a guy a handful of years ago because he was falsifying hours, and he actually is a coach in the DMV, coaches basketball. We were very good friends. He helped coach with me. However, when I got that thing, I pulled him in. I gave him a performance action plan. He didn't follow through. He got fired. I said, bring on Monday, bring your keys and your flash drive. So at the end of the day, how's that relate to Virginia Tech? I feel like some of the best coaches understand the importance of sense of urgency. Like, for example, wasted time. So the backup quarterback, just answers very quickly, anybody on the show. Who was the backup quarterback to Drones last year?
Colin Slee.
When he came in the game in 5 to 6 games and he ran a dummy motion. He ran the dummy motion.
Yep. That's right.
You could have been using that package with Pop in the red zone like we did with Boone and Tyrod and Logan and Tyrod. You wasted, again, this is what I mean about having a sense of urgency, understanding. Like, what I'm saying is I'm not an AD, but I know, to me, my job is to have all the programs at premium level and pulling the people in, on some Friday Night Lights shit. Like, remember that scene, Friday Night Lights, when him and his wife and the daughter were coming out of Walmart, and then they said, "Coach, we're gonna win it." The truth of the matter is, I'm not saying the fans. I'm not proposing the fans run up on Pride at Kroger or at Walmart. What I'm saying is, Virginia Tech needs to have a sense of urgency. Some of the best program years, when we first went into ACC, and they would pick 11th, they would pick 10th or 11th to finish in that conference. This was after the debacle, which was known as the 2003 team, when they returned and they had all that talent, right? They won the conference. And every week, Beams was like, yo, we got to scrap. We got to fight. We're going to have to earn everything. And after that tough loss to USC, I've said this before many times, he benched his starters who were older, and he brought in Eddie Royal, Justin Harper. He brought the youth movement in. People say, well, Dwight, there was no transfer portal right now. I don't care how much they're making. You can make money at Coastal Carolina now. There are deep schools giving out NIL money. Let them leave, because to me, you have to have a sense of urgency. Accountability, no matter what era of football, has to be at the forefront of your program. I don't care if their mom's going to do passive-aggressive tweets. Tell Shorty to kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can't be held hostage by a parent that is going to badmouth you. Let them go. And I felt like there was too much of that going on where you can't – is politics everywhere? Yeah, politics is all throughout the ACC, the Big Ten. But I just go back to guys like Saban, which is why I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan as far as his class, because he benched Jalen Hurts on national TV.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Beamer, people don't realize this. Tyrod Taylor's been benched at Jet. Brian Randall's been benched. A lot of guys have been benched that went on to be legendary players at Tech.
Yep.
I did not understand why at times there were certain players who just weren't performing. You didn't take them out the game just to kind of let them clear their head. So, I mean, you were preaching earlier, Chris, but I just feel like there needs to be a sense of urgency of accountability around the program for them to maintain and meet somewhat of expectations.
Because if you're not producing, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. So if you're not getting it done, let's see if somebody else behind you can get it done.
Next guy. And now you're getting paid to do it. You're getting paid to do it. And if you suck, Dwight, what you just said, I know this was 20 years ago, out. Next guy up because you're not good enough.
But you didn't have the guy. You didn't have the guy to say, "Hey, you suck," and get somebody else because you had such a piss poor in the offensive line situation. And I stood on the table for Crook till I found out he was in there doing Zoom meetings, because I do Zoom meetings, but I'm supposed to do them. But you can't turn around and you have to bring 4 to 5 guys in every cycle, and you didn't have that. You had Rudolph. He was living off dead bodies. Great guy, but was living off dead bodies and didn't want to go get in the portal. And then you turn around and Crook just didn't have, from what we saw and from what people, he wasn't able to teach or take them from point A to point B.
But Chris, the pushback I give on Crooks was I was not in favor of that hire because I felt like if you're Virginia Tech, that's a brand lowering hire. You're going below your brand. Like, I'm not saying a guy from a lower, Bud Foster came from Murray State. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, you got to be in a situation where like, yo, we Virginia Tech on some boss level shit. Like at the end of the day, and I'm not advocating just for Todd Washington. What I'm saying is I knew from game one, Crooks, that the O-line was not prepared to play. So everybody says, hey, man, you got to get those 4 stars that are rated by guys that have never played football, right? These are the guys that are thinking you're players, right? So we got to get no. Anyone that's played offensive line on any level knows it is about your head placement, your footwork, knowing how to do different things, right? You have to basically be in a situation where those guys were not in a position to win. They were up high. When you get we call it the road course, your 2-point stance. So they were taking false steps. It's about like, okay, identifying the Mike, who's the Sam, who's the Will. If I got a guy coming in my B gap, what does that mean? MDM, most dangerous man, block down. No,
man, you're right.
Boom, he comes up. That's not talent. That's understanding. Right. We won games. Again, I hate doing this because that's not about my time. Tim Schnecker played at Blacksburg High School. He's a great guy. He was my boy. He was a walk-on, and he had the athleticism of somebody that worked at Kroger, right? But the guy knew how to snap and step down and identify the Mike. Mike's left lives. That means we're sliding left. The quarterback's got the weak side defender, sight adjust. We're going 3 different ways. That's poor coaching. And that's high. Listen, fuck it. I'm going to say
Go ahead.
That's hiring people you down with, right? I'm a business owner. I am not hiring my boy from Shell Road who got a pack of Black and Miles for sale. I'm not hiring him to work my business. And this is my boy. I grew up with. Just because you're friends with somebody, let me tell you something, man. I played for 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Mike Smith and Frank Beamer. And if you look at both of them, their staff was elite. But at times, there were assistants who were like, damn, he could be the head coach. Or like Billy Height was Coach Beamer's concierge, like in The Godfather. Coach Height Coach Hike would say, he'd be like, Frank, call a timeout. Beans would do that. I saw it. So what I'm saying is, who is holding the person accountable or helping each other in that? Like, to me, when you're a head coach or you're on that staff and you see your own line getting destroyed after week 1, week 2, you like, hey, coach, I need to see you Monday morning.
Not
firing him, but
Dwight,
just to say,
my thing is, I'm not
a
Alabama fan, but I'm from Alabama. I'm a football fan. So if you're a football fan, everybody knows Nick Saban. If you go watch Nick Saban coach a game, he like a madman on the sideline.
He mad at everybody.
Whoever gets in his way, he got something to say. The camera crew, the mamas,
anybody.
He probably just yell at his wife. The players, his coaches. Lane Kiffin is considered a top coach now, right?
Yep.
Even when he was at Alabama, he was a head coach before he went there. Like, Nick Saban didn't care.
Yep.
He wanted it done the right way. He wanted it done his
way. Right.
And I'm not comparing Nick Saban to Pry, but with the level of intensity to try to win, that's what I expect to see. So my thing is, I'm okay with you. I'm not okay with you hiring your boys. Not at all, because you got to take it serious. But if you decide that that's what you want to do or you're in the game, I just didn't see nobody who really wanted to be like, you know what? We need to fucking win. And if you ain't trying to win, you need to get the fuck off the sidelines. How you keep, like, you got your quarterback or you got your wide receiver that gets killed, and then we was just over there looking at these. What's the next play? Let me write this down. Man, stop writing stuff down and start yelling at somebody.
Get on somebody's ass.
Right. What are we doing, man?
At some point, Dwight, like what you said, like, you got to have some accountability, and you got to be able to, when somebody's not doing the things that they need to do, and you're not performing at the level you need to perform, it's got to be some accountability. Somebody's got to have a conversation, be like, hey, you're not getting it done.
We need
and
some
if the guys you got in there that you
on
think are
this
getting it done,
staff.
they're not getting it done. Get them out. Try something different. You can't just keep running out the same 5 every week and getting piss poor results and expect something new. That's madness. At some point, you got to switch it up.
But the thing about it is that they didn't have anybody to bring in to replace him. Leif gets hurt. Right? Yep. He was supposed to play. He gets hurt. You got to play shit. Chaplin was hurt all year long, especially when he went to ODU. So you had to bring Garrett in from here. So you didn't have a backup guy behind that. And none of them jokers was ready.
Yeah, Garrett needed to play a lot more. But Garrett should have been in the game a whole lot more last year, regardless.
But sometimes you just have to make the change. To what Dwight said, show accountability. Go. Listen, your job's over. You're done.
Yep.
Well, he's not as good as me though. He makes some mistakes. But fuck you, because you keep making the mistakes over and over and over. I'm going to put somebody else here. What if he makes mistakes? At least he's a freshman and he's got a damn excuse.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew. I mean, we had rivals out and there were other publications, Roanoke News, whatever. Eddie Royal was a highly touted recruit. But nobody knew how dynamic Eddie Royal was going to be, because against USC and early on, those receivers got limited action. Beams went with the more mature players, Richard Johnson, those guys. That's back when Justin Hamilton was on offense. He was a running back and played some receiver. Here's the thing. After that loss, he went with the youth movement. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, hey, yo, that dude Josh Hyman going to be all right. David Clowney. All these guys, Justin Harper, Justin Harper was not a highly touted kid. Justin Harper got a chance because we couldn't break one-on-one coverage. But let me go back to my initial point. It's coaching, because you don't have to we got beat. I hate to bring up memories. We got beat against Rutgers one year. I'm rubbing my head so I can woosah. We got beat against Rutgers one year with a quarterback that couldn't pass at all. It was like playing a kid that just had the cheat code in the video game. He did not. I think he beat us on the 4th and 1. He was just running and running. That guy was not a quarterback. We have lost games in the last 3 years against inferior opponents because they made the adjustments and changes we weren't willing to do. And that's all I'm saying. Like, you're not wrong about the depth limitations in some positions. What I'm saying is between the scheme and coachability and making the changes beforehand, that's where we fall short, and we have. Now, I'm hoping, I say this to be optimistic, this is the fan in me. To me, and I don't want to jump ahead in the schedule of the show, but like to me, when you look ahead at this season and a signature win that we still haven't gotten yet as a program under the Prov regime, South Carolina has to be a game where you don't hold back. It's like you look at, like, for example, somebody posted the other day, it might have been the ACC network or somebody on Twitter, that West Virginia game lost. They threw an interception late in the game, and I remember watching that game. This is during the Fuente era. And they got down there, and the announcer says, well, Jim, you don't want to score too quickly. I'm like, I hate when announcers say that.
Say that stupid.
Get lost in the acoustic brilliance of 3D audio that surrounds you. Feel the embrace of the massage seats that adapt to your every move. Experience the warmth of a vehicle that welcomes you as you approach. We could tell you what makes a Lincoln SUV so extraordinary, but don't take our word for it. Take it on a test drive at the Lincoln Summer Invitation, with exclusive offers on now, only at your local Lincoln retailer.
To you, my darling.
No, to you.
The Roses were living the dream.
More champagne for me, please.
Until it all came crashing down.
He got fired.
Fired?
From the director of Meet the Parents.
You're a failure. Women don't like that.
If you need a shoulder or an inner thigh to lean on.
On August 29th.
I just want the house.
We want everything.
Wow.
Stop.
Stop!
And see The Roses.
These people.
The Roses. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. In theaters everywhere, August 29th.
Because you give them more time. You give them time.
You ended up wasting that. You got in the red zone, and the last pass was to Trey Turner, but you did a jet sweep, and it was like, I was like, just score. And it was like, you could have seized that opportunity to beat a very, a decent West Virginia team, but it's the name. Like, if we go in that South Carolina game, with holding back and trying to save, you want to treat that South Carolina game like it's your national championship. You know why? Because we have fallen to the ranks of a program that needs to do that. That's the reason.
It's your Super Bowl.
Listen, Super Bowl. This is what I'm gonna say right here. I know we got to go to. I think we got to go to a break. And a couple other things we got to get to. Curtis got a couple things to get to, but this is what I'm gonna say. I'm old and country, right? So my grandma used to have this like wood burning stove and heater that we stood in front of before school. And we all had cheap clothes. We was poor, so we had cheap clothes. You know what I'm saying? My mom would go to Big B and get me like a new a windbreaker suit. So they was, you know what I'm saying? You got the windbreaker on the outside, but it's got the cotton on the inside. If you stood your ass in front of that stove, in front of that heater too long, it was gonna singe that suit that you had on, and you was gonna go to school with the white part showing. Your seat need to be as hot as them suits that I was having on going to school in second and third grade.
There you go.
Hey man, honeymoon over.
No, it's been over. It's been over.
The honeymoon is over.
Let me hit this real quick because I want to wrap up offense. Sheldon's got to get out of here a little bit, so I want to get to what he's got for defense. He like his sleep. Real quick, wide receiver, tight end room. A lot of people were like, that room last year was great, great, great. Well, maybe, maybe not. That's there's one guy that we know. But let's be for real, this year, that room, the transfers brought in, the young guys who showed out down at the bowl game, how are they going to hit their potential? Because that room is absolutely full of potential with so many different guys between Donovan Green, who's like 40, Cam Seldon. How do they hit their potential? Because to your point, Dwight, there's a lot of young bucks in that room. How do we hit it?
I'm gonna be, I've taught a lot, but that's what I'm here for, to talk a lot on this show. I just feel like, again, this is a very easy answer. The wide receiver room, that's one thing. Even going back to the Fuente era, we've had some dogs. Tech has had a great run with wide receivers in their roster going back to the Fuente era, and even last year's group, at times was inconsistent, but you knew what they can do, especially based on the previous year. Some of that was scheme, some of that was effort, maybe some injuries. I don't know. I think it was collective. I feel like the depth should be your advantage. And I think the best thing if I'm coaching that group is create competition Monday through Thursday. So that means you need cohesiveness for Drone. So he needs to know who his 5, 6 are. However, when you create competition, when Green caught that we thought was the winning touchdown against Miami, everybody in my group chat and everybody over my spot was like, yo, who is this kid? Every time I watch him, he was making play. Gosnell, catching those deep balls, that diving catch. I felt like those guys were kids you should have just ran with. And if some of the veterans were salty because they were making $300,000, so be it. They still getting their paper. I just feel like that kind of competition and coach needs to be present when it comes to the depth you have. I feel like that's probably a strength of Virginia Tech right now. Even that kid, you joke about the kid that is the kid from Wake Forest. That's what you're talking about?
Donovan Green. Yeah, Donovan Green.
Yeah, he went from Wake.
Yeah. He's got to stay healthy, but I like that kid. I like his moxie. I like his attitude. But he's, to me, and I don't want to give you a general answer, but I firmly believe this. I feel like everybody on the team has something to prove. I feel like nobody, we talk a lot about the coaches. I feel like nobody should assume anything's a given. Create competition, like almost like when Kobe Bryant had that unfortunate incident with that chick in Colorado and all of that crazy stuff. Kobe Bryant became the Mamba because he was finally, and I used to say this, I was like, yo, stop trying to live up to everybody's image. And he said he came back and he was like, F everybody. And that's when when he became the Mamba, he got the tattoo and he became an asshole. That's when you saw it. I feel like Tech needs more of that. Like, I feel like that energy. So I know that's a general answer, Curtis, but I just feel like the receivers are talented. To me, we're deep at that position, man. But I feel like if anything, I told this to Chris last year, and he was like, yo, it was a text. I texted him, and this one I knew it resonated with him because he called me. He said, yo, hold on, Dwight, what you mean? I said, listen, they're not running great routes. I said, because we are getting jammed up and getting contained by average secondaries. You know what I'm saying? So that's not just scheme. That's what I mean. So anyway, Chris, that's your cup of tea. I answered your question. I think Chris might have
competition.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said competition. I'm going to say this and because we're going to be real. You turned around last year. This is what ends up happening. Most people don't understand that you had, when you brought those 4 guys back, but you really brought 5 guys back. Aiden Green could not redshirt. Aiden Green had to play. He burnt his shirt because Ali got hurt, right? The motto of this team this year is what? Team over who? Me. You had guys that were thinking about the league more than they were thinking about being great for Virginia Tech. There we go. Let's go and get it out there on the table.
Oh, that's true.
All right, that's out there, right? So you turn around, you had conflict with guys getting, hey, I'm putting TikTok stuff out, and then you got that out there, and then let's be honest, your younger guys were probably better. Okay, Takai Heath ended up having to sit. All right, Takai Heath is a dynamic route runner, not a big guy, but a really good route runner. You had Chance Fitzgerald, who was your number 1 recruit in the 23 class, didn't give you anything, but that was on Chance. Okay, that was on him. Then you turn around, so you couldn't take Felton off the field, right? Because if you took Felton off the field, you weren't going to go to Chance, you were going to go to Stephen Gosnell, right? Because Stephen Gosnell could play all over. He could play the X, the Y, the Z. He could play it all. So when we would sit back and look like the younger guys are probably just as good, if not better, but they couldn't get on the field because you already had 5 guys in front of them. So what ends up happening this year? Aiden Green comes back. He's dynamic and he's hungry. Takai Heath is healthy and he wants to get out there and play. Donovan Green is an outstanding route runner and a big guy who can get out there and block and do a lot of things that Felton did last year. You've got Cam Seldon, who is kind of like he's a football player. right? We got him listed as being a wide receiver, but he's a football player. So that room is chucked full with guys. You got a kid, I don't talk about my kid, but you got the kid. You got Chance Wiggins that's got some stuff to prove. So I think with your room, and then you got the Isaiah Spencer kid, like, honestly, I love him because he wants it so bad. That dude came from an HBCU, and he is loving being at this next level for this higher competition. So I think the room, I'm going to say it out loud, even though you got 2 guys that's in the league, right, or 3 guys that's in the league, the room is better this year. I'm going to just say, I'm going to be pointing, the room is better this year than it was last year. You fight me all day long. I don't care. The room is better this year than it was last year. You got better route runners.
It's a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper for sure.
It's better. It's better.
Yeah.
It's better. You got two guys right now. Let's just you got Jay Lane. Me and Tally talked about it. We thought it was gonna be like 9 guys get drafted, right? We was like Jay Lane, Felton, Jennings, Gosnell. We had like 5 or 7 guys get it. Listen, the 2 guys who gonna play NFL snaps this year on a high level is Jay Lane and daggum Stephen Gosnell. That's it. From the wide receiver room. I'm just being totally honest. Ain't no hate to it. It is what it is. But those guys had that. So you turn around. We had a collection of talent. We didn't have a team. That's what we had last year. We had a collection of great talent, but we didn't have teams on the offensive side of the football. So with your piss poor offensive line and folks think about going elsewhere, and you got your quarterback foot damn near broke, that's what you end up having. And you still won 6 games.
There you go. Brian, you got something for us here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and we've been talking about it a little bit. I know everybody maybe seen it on Twitter. We got the giveaway that we're running here for the concert. So I'm going to let this run real quick. We'll come back and we'll talk a little defense.
No doubt.
Hey, Hokie Nation. It's your man, Brian, from Boundary Corner Podcast. Get ready to kick off the 2025 season in style. Our good friends over at the Hokie Way are hosting the Countdown to Kickoff concert featuring the always fantastic band OAR. Join fellow Hokies, alumni, and fans for an exclusive private event at the iconic Tabernacle in Atlanta, Georgia. That's right. Hokie Nation is taking over the Tabernacle to celebrate the start of the Virginia Tech football season. Matt, tell the people more.
Mark your calendars. The concert's happening Saturday, August 30th at 7 p.m., the night before our opening game against South Carolina. This is more than just a concert. It's a chance to support a great cause. Every ticket you buy will further the Hokie Way's mission of enabling student athletes at Virginia Tech to promote and support our incredible charitable partners. And before the concert, make sure to catch a special on-location broadcast of Tech Talk Live from the venue where Zach Mackey and Mike Burnip will be interviewing special guests.
And here's a special announcement. Boundary Corner Podcast is giving away 2 free tickets to the concert. Visit boundarycornervt.com/concert for details on how you can enter. This is your official welcome to the new football season, so start jumping. For more details or to secure your tickets now, visit thehokieway.org/concert and be sure to use that code BoundaryCorner, one word, to save 10% off your order. See you in Atlanta and go Hokies.